You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, the CPKC holiday train rolls into town to support Webb City Cares.
Also, as the weather gets colder, a Missouri teen has made it her mission to make sure people have what they need to stay warm. Now she started her own nonprofit.
And we have winter weather advisories across the portions of the area. We've got light snow starting to move in. A look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. Just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, December the 1st, and it is beginning to look a lot like December.
Yes.
For sure, with some of this wintry weather across the area. It's also been pretty darn cold the last few days as well.
You know, I really had to make sure I had my warm winter jackets broken out and the hats and the gloves.
Yes.
And one Missouri teen is hoping to make sure everybody has those items when it's getting colder like this.
Claire Bradshaw has her story from Kansas City.
Blue Springs teen Reagan Galloway works hard every winter. She is a nonprofit, King the Cold, a softball term meaning to strike out the cold. She collects cold weather items for people in need. Reagan then gives those to other nonprofits like Shelter KC and Many Parts One Body so they can focus their resources elsewhere.
When I was 9, I learned about a family member that didn't have the best childhood and didn't have a bed to grow up on, to sleep on. And so we were talking about it. We're sitting at the dinner table. I was like, yeah, I really want to help people. We just started with blankets and sleeping bags. And so as we've grown, we've done more things like gloves, stocking hats, socks, and sometimes even hand warmers.
Just in her first year, Reagan collected 132 blankets, and this year she has a goal of 6,000 items with a garage full of donations to show it. Reagan's mom, Christy, is her manager, but also one of her biggest supporters.
She has talked about wanting other kids to get involved, so we officially started an ambassador program. We became a nonprofit last year, so our board approved this to where other kids can essentially go and fundraise, and if they're in other parts of the states, they can identify organizations that they want to support and donate to as long as it falls into our missions.
Even including little kids, 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds, and just having them help. It's showing them what the world kind of looks like outside of what they have.
People who want to help Reagan can donate through her Amazon wish list or follow her Facebook page for more information.
Of course, a very incredible teen, incredible mission out there. And as I mentioned, others can join in from across the state as well to help those out in their area.
Yeah, and there's a lot of organizations right here in the 4 states that could really benefit from similar efforts as well.
Absolutely, and we've got some wintry weather out there, so now is the time to bundle up. Starting the live look from downtown Pittsburgh as we get this daylight building in unless we get some heavier snow, it's going to be a little harder to see, but don't see anything yet in the Pittsburgh area. Trying to take a close look into those street lights. It's really difficult to tell right now. Now, our camera at 7th and Rangeline, before it started to get too bright, if you look close enough, you can actually still kind of see that we do have a little bit of that light snow beginning to build into the area. My wife messaged me about 15 minutes ago at the bus stop saying that they were starting to see some light snow there. Yeah, you got a camera near Baxter Springs. When it was in black and white mode, when it was a little darker this morning, you could really see the light snow. You can't see it as well now, but we are continuing to see that fall across the region. KDOT camera 469. This is really, again, 171. You can see it now. I just saw a couple of little flurries go by here. So we are starting to see the snow make it to the ground across the area. MoDOT cameras around the metro still looking pretty good so far at this point. In fact, it looks like we might be getting, it's again difficult to tell, but we might actually seeing some stick there on the bridge at I-44 at Main Street. So, and again, that is our biggest concern at this point, is really for slick spots. We're not expecting a major winter storm by any means. It's our first taste of wintry weather for sure. But it's not expected to be a major event, just leading to some slick spots. Skywatch Storm Tracker still showing what looks like a fair amount of snow out there. Not necessarily the case. Again, we've had some dry air in between the clouds and the ground. And so what we've got is radar picking up on snow up here in the clouds, and then it's falling into that dry air, evaporating, and then not making it to the ground. But as that dry air begins to move out and we get more moisture in, we'll start to see a little bit more snowfall. We do have winter weather advisories, our northwestern counties through 6 o'clock this evening, and that That is because up here you could actually see 1 to 2 inches of snow. Now down in Oklahoma and Arkansas, these run until noon, and that is again primarily for the potential travel impacts with some slick spots here and there. And we could see additional ones out there. It all depends on what we see in terms of this snowfall and where it sticks and where it doesn't. We're sitting at 27 in Joplin right now, same in Pittsburgh, and across the area temperatures are pretty darn cold. We're mid-upper 20s. We've had some 30s down in northeastern Oklahoma, now into Anderson, and that's why Future Track believes that you could see a momentary transition in some locations to some light rain, but it will be brief before it goes back to this wintry mix, which again will be some freezing rain, sleet, and snow out there. As we go later into the afternoon and evening, temperatures will fall back just a bit because they don't move much today. We'll see this transition really to just snow. We get this snow band through, and as it pushes through, it could produce some pockets of heavy snow, but as you also see, it moves pretty quickly. So that's why, again, we're not overly concerned about significant accumulations, but we're concerned about slick spots, especially bridges and overpasses, as it begins to exit by about 8 o'clock. So wintry mix through the day, transitioning eventually to some snow later this evening, at least briefly. And as I said, our temperatures don't move much. Upper 20s, low 30s for our highs. Winds expected to be calm. We're going to have another look at your forecast, take a look at the snowfall so far and road conditions, and tell you what happens once the snow is gone here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Residents in Commerce, Oklahoma feel the heat from across the street as a house was consumed by flames Saturday. Video sent to KOAM from Commerce resident Kylie Water shows the flames as they burst out of the side of the house. Water saying as she opened her front door, she could feel the heat from the fire. The home was reported as vacant, and public works crews have torn down the house in the interest of public safety. No injuries from this incident have been reported. Despite the rain, the holidays officially rolled into the 4 states. The CPKC holiday train made stops in both Pittsburgh and Joplin to help get the holiday season underway. The 2025 CPKC holiday train tours Canada and the United States through December 21st, raising money, food, and awareness to support food banks across the communities it visits, like Webb City Cares. Attendees are encouraged to bring non-perishable items to the free, family-friendly stops. The holiday train turns a boxcar into a stage for a live concert featuring artists like Smash Mouth and JJ Wild. Thousands of European-built Airbus jets are returning to normal service after they were grounded Friday for an urgent software update. The company is apologizing for logistical challenges and delays. Fox's Caroline Elliott has more from Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta.
It's one of the busiest travel weeks of the year, so the timing of all this is not great, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said airlines are making progress. Airbus also says this is not a long-term problem, and it should be a relatively easy fix. In fact, this afternoon, Delta and United both say there are 0 impacts to operations, and American Airlines told us only 4 of their planes are down.
If you're traveling this week, remember this, that grounding an aircraft to apply a fix isn't a sign that there's something wrong. It is a sign that the system is protecting you. And Airbus acted, regulators enforced it, and crews are implementing the solution.
Airbus knew something was not right when a JetBlue flight suddenly dropped midair on October 30th. The pilot could tell right away that this was not just your normal turbulence. The drop in altitude forced an emergency landing, and it was so rough, 15 passengers had to go to the hospital. So to avoid this, Airbus says some planes are going to need a software upgrade, and the FAA is putting a tight deadline on airlines, telling them they got to get this done by midnight tonight. In Atlanta, Caroline Elliott, Fox News.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, we learn more about the upcoming 75th annual Pancake Day. Well, welcome back. I'm joined this morning with some of the officers with the Kiwanis Club of Pittsburgh here to tell us about their upcoming Pancake Day fundraiser. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
So Pancake Day, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. It's a tradition that's been going on in Pittsburgh with the Pittsburgh Kiwanis Club for 75 years. This is our 75th anniversary. And so it's multi-generational. We have people coming in all the time that have, when they were a grandchild, they came in with their parents, their grandparents, and now they're bringing their kids and their grandkids. So it's just a time, it's our major fundraiser, but it's a great time with family and friends.
Amazing. And 75 years is a long time.
It is a long
for a
time.
fundraiser to keep on going. So
Yes.
it looks like it's got a lot of community support behind it.
Go ahead.
It does, and the whole community comes out. We have big sponsors and local businesses, and it's just wonderful to see how many people come out to support the children, really, of our community.
Amazing. So that, yeah, kind of going off of that, this fundraiser, you said it's the biggest one of the year, and it's all for some great causes.
We support a lot of local charities. Some of our charities are the Children's Advocacy Center, Safe House, Salvation Army,
Fostering Connection.
Yes, and that's just a few of the organizations that we support locally. I knew that whenever we would have to talk about this, I would always forget somebody, but those are our major the ones that we back. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
And how's it feel being able to support them like this? You know, why is that so important for you guys? This is a new mission.
Well, Kiwanis is it's a global organization, and we are focused 100% about families and children. And so we really look for those organizations that have similar missions. And so that's one of the things that we look for whenever those organizations are looking for funding is how do you support children and how do you support our local families.
Sounds so great. And this is a great way to be able to do that. And it sounds like you get a pretty tasty breakfast out of it as well.
It is a wonderful breakfast. It's 2 pancakes, I believe, sausage, your choice of beverage. We have entertainment that changes every hour. This year we have Santa coming to visit. Santa will be there from 9 to 11. And this year we have something new, and it's called Santa's Workshop. And so our Circle K, our college members from Pittsburgh State University will be having arts and crafts for our kids while Santa is visiting with some of them.
Oh, that is
Yes.
so fun. So for those interested in attending, how much are tickets for this?
Tickets are $7 for adults, $3 for kids 12 and under. And so it's very reasonable. We try to keep it very reasonable just because we do want to support families being able to come out and have a great breakfast. This is also, we're doing a Toys for Tots drop-off this year. So if you want to bring a toy in and drop it off, we're acting as a drop-off location, and we'll make sure that those toys get to where they need to go.
Sounds like a lot of good
Yes.
being able to get done in one day.
Absolutely.
So for those who hope to attend, it sounds like it's going to be a great morning.
Yes.
When, where, and what time?
So this will take place at Memorial Auditorium in Pittsburgh. It starts at 7 in the morning. We'll be there much earlier than that, but it starts at 7 in the morning, and it will go till noon this year. And it's on the south side of the building in the basement. Like I said, this is the 75th year for it. We've always had it at Memorial Auditorium. We have a really cool historical photo that I wish we could have brought to show you of the very first pancake feed that was held there. So.
Amazing.
Yes.
And what day is this going to be?
Saturday, December 6th. So this coming Saturday.
So fun.
Yes, absolutely.
So if people are looking for more information, not only about this, but maybe about, the Kiwanis Club of Pittsburgh, you guys have a good website or a Facebook that they should go to?
Actually, we're going to have an ad in Wednesday's Morning Sun paper, and there should be a banner on Broadway and 4th announcing the pancake breakfast this coming Saturday.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great morning supporting some great causes, and
Yes.
also a great time to get in the holiday spirit as well
Absolutely.
with Santa.
It's
So-
great.
Right.
Very good.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
this morning.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up on 7:19, and we're going to take a quick camera tour. Now, some of them, it's hard to see, but see, that wasn't too hard to see. We're starting to now see very light flurries in downtown Pittsburgh. Our camera here at 4th and Broadway, it is very light, and we're not expecting, this is not going to be a major winter storm or anything, but it's our first taste of winter, and it just so happens it jives with the first day of December. So we're actually starting, December how we would expect to start it here in the 4 states. Our camera 7th range line. Again, we're getting some daylight out there, and what I mean is we've got some thinner clouds to the east, so the sunrise has brightened things up a bit, and so it's made it a little more difficult to see, but we're still seeing some light flurries in Joplin. KDOT camera 69 and 400, again looking back along 171. Every so often in these darker spots, you'll see one of those little snowflakes go flying by, so nothing crazy. Same from the KDOT camera 69, just north of Baxter Springs. It is frozen for the moment, but in its frozen state, you can't see much. because we're not getting much, but there is some light snow flurries out there. MoDOT cameras around the metro area, again, looking good so far, but every so often you'll see a little flake of snow go flying by out there. And we'll see more of this as the day goes on, but again, it's not a major winter storm. It may look like it, but it's not. And the reason we say that is what we've had some pretty dry air aloft. And what we've had is the radar's picking up on snow, as I've discussed, in the cloud layer. Okay, I know this isn't 3D here, but clouds, snow. But then we get the dry air in between, and so the snow falls. It's a realistic animation here. And as it gets into that drier air, it evaporates and doesn't actually reach the ground. And so that's why right now it looks like there's snow all over the place, but we're not seeing it because we still have some fairly dry air out there. We will see more wintry weather. Again, it's not going to add up to much in terms of accumulations. Our biggest concern is going to be with slick spots, especially on bridges and overpasses as we go through today. We do have winter weather advisories. Our northwestern counties through 6 o'clock, and up here, and this does include Burlington, Garnett, Eureka, Yates Center, you could get 1 to 2 inches of snow. The winter weather advisories out of the Tulsa office for Oklahoma and Arkansas run until noon, and that's primarily because, again, about 4 o'clock this morning, a little after 4, they put these out because off to the south and west, they were starting to get reports of slick spots. Again, bridges, overpasses primarily, and like I said, that's our biggest concern, is just for that possibility of some slick spots here and there. KDOT, at least into our area, still reporting clear road conditions. That's what that blue color is out there. Off to the north, though, as you can see, not looking nearly as good. The snow's really been picking up around the Kansas City metro area on both sides. So down here in our region, though, MoDOT also reporting clear roadways. And again, we're not expecting too much, but you just want to be careful out there. All right, so in our northeastern Oklahoma counties, we've had places like Newada, Veneta, Miami, Grove, at 30, we even had some 31s. And I know it's still below freezing, but Future Track agrees with you might warm up a pinch above freezing long enough by noon to get a brief shower, like a brief transition to rain, but it'll be very brief. The majority of this is going to be freezing rain, sleet, and snow. As temperatures fall back a bit closer to sunset, we should see this transition to snow. And then during the 5 o'clock rush hour, right along and north of I-44, this band of snow starts to push through. It could produce some heavy snow. Again, not expecting much from accumulations from it, but it could produce some heavy snow, again, leading to some slick spots, maybe slightly reduced visibilities here and there. And it will exit fairly quickly. By 8 o'clock, it's now pushing into Berry County. In fact, it's really on its way out of Berry County. And then we should have partly cloudy skies overnight tonight, giving way to partly cloudy to mostly clear skies for our Tuesday. Snowfall totals, again, this computer model so far is the one that seems to be most on par with what's right, and it's updated since we saw it earlier this morning. Again, that 1 to 2 inches up where we have those winter weather advisories, and then outside of that, a dusting to a half inch, maybe an inch in some cases, but not expecting, that's what I was saying, the accumulations aren't expected to be too terribly much, but we could get those slick spots. So that wintry mix continuing through the morning. Temperatures don't move a lot, just hovering into the upper 20s. We'll have highs upper 20s, maybe some low 30s. We'll go upper teens, low 20s tonight, upper 30s, low 40s for our Tuesday. A little warmer Wednesday, a little cooler Thursday, mild heading into the upcoming weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, welcome back. I'm joined here this morning with Charity Lang-Qualls, who is a former teacher from the area who is now also a published author. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So I know we're excited because you've recently published this year your first book. What made you want to get into writing?
Well, it's funny because I have a math degree, so I taught math for 20 years, and so writing has been definitely outside of my comfort zone, but I just had a story that would not, was unrelenting and would not stop until I wrote it down. So it ended up being a book.
Amazing. So can you tell us a little bit about what your book is?
Okay, well it's a love story, so it's a romance, and it is also got some suspense in it and a little bit of sci-fi in it, and it follows Ethan and Amelia, and they start off in college and then have a chemistry together, and then they end up after college going their separate ways, and then 5 years down the road, they reconnect and find each other again and fall in love. And then right before, I don't want to give any spoilers, but
Yes.
Before their marriage, there's a terrible tragedy, and it just shifts their entire lives. And so it follows their story, and there's some tragedy and
I know it's been described to have a lot of twists and turns
a
and
lot of twists,
very
yes.
suspenseful and keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yes, I would say yes. I wrote it to be very thought-provoking, and so I wanted it to be thought-provoking and encompass some moral dilemmas, and some things that, like I've told people, I'm a math major, and so most of my life has been dealing in objectivity and right or wrong, and so I'm in some gray area in the book.
And from everything I've read about it and all the reviews that I've seen that come in, that's what they say is it's very suspenseful, that they couldn't put it down. What's it been like seeing that reaction now that it's out there?
It's incredible because it took me 7 years to write the book, but 10 years ago I would have never thought I would have written a novel. So it's been just incredible.
Amazing. So Saving Amelia, it's very exciting that it's out. Where can people find this if they want to read it themselves?
It's on Amazon, and it's also on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have that. You can also buy it directly from me, which you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, or actually I'm on TikTok also. So any of those places you could find me, and I directly sell it as well.
Well, that sounds great. So I know this was a work of love. Took 7 years, as you were saying.
Yes.
Are there any plans for any future books coming?
I do. I've started a second book, so it's called Finding Amelia, and I plan to have it out. I'm hoping by March. I'm not entirely sure, but that's kind of my timeline for it. So, and then I have a third book that I have the outline for. So I have the trilogy, I guess.
Yes. Well, it's always exciting to see, up and coming authors come out, especially when they're in our area. So Saving Amelia is now out and available. Like you said, you can find it, online on Amazon, but also reach out to you and you can get copies. But it sounds like it's going to be a great read.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Charity.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. I'm Samantha Walker.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
President Trump is taking his immigration crackdown even further, as Texas authorities say they arrested an Afghan national who posted a TikTok video indicating he was building a bomb. The man came to the U.S. under an asylum program dubbed Operation Allies, just like the suspect in the D.C. National Guard shooting earlier this week. Authorities are still figuring out clues for the suspect's motives. Fox News correspondent Dana Marie McNoll has more from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Officials are conducting search warrants and speaking to anyone that might have known the suspect as the investigation shifts into his past, like looking at his life in Afghanistan before he moved to the U.S. in 2021. Officials say 29-year-old Ramanullah Lakanwal was vetted by the intelligence community for his work with the CIA in Afghanistan before being granted humanitarian parole through Operation Allies Welcome. This is a program under the Biden administration that allowed him to settle in Washington state with his wife and 5 kids. He would have also been screened by the Trump administration before receiving asylum earlier this year. Now, what may have motivated him to drive across the country and carry out a deadly ambush remains unanswered. Lakanwal is now facing first-degree murder for the death of 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, as 24-year-old Andrew Wolf remains in critical condition. Today, a DHS spokesperson confirmed another Afghan national who was paroled into the U.S. under Biden's Operation Allies Welcome. He was arrested for posting a video of himself on TikTok indicating he was building a bomb intended for the Fort Worth area in Texas.
There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens soon.
In response to the shooting this week, the president has directed the State Department to pause giving out visas to people traveling with Afghan passports, as well as hold all asylum decisions until every person is screened. And the president has also directed an additional 500 National Guard members to be deployed in Washington, D.C., as law enforcement in the area just announced that they will be working in close coordination with the troops. In West Palm Beach, I'm Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News.
Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're starting to see that snow actually reach the ground. Again, it's not sticking to much yet, but our camera downtown Pittsburgh, take a look. You saw those flurries go by. There are a few more of them. So we're finally getting past that dry slot that we've had this morning. Our camera 7th and range line, yet at this point a little difficult to tell for sure, but we have had some flurries here and there. We're going to head down to the KDOT camera 69 north of Baxter Springs, where this morning when it was still dark, Baxter started getting in on some of the flurries before anybody else did, because this camera was in its black and white mode, and that made it much easier to see those snow flurries. It's kind of frozen again, but that's okay. KDOT camera 69 400 looking along 171 here, and again, it's difficult because the snow isn't super heavy, and it's not expected to be too crazy for us today, which is good. Our biggest concern is going to be with slick spots. Jasper County officials reporting that they're starting to see some freezing, some slick spots building up, especially on bridges in the area. MoDOT cameras around the metro, they're looking okay, but again, that's going to be our biggest concern with any of this wintry weather, is simply going to be those slick spots that begin to build in, again, especially on bridges and overpasses. In terms of accumulations, not a major concern with that. Again, it's just more so with those slick spots out there. The snow continuing to push through. Again, not all of it yet reaching the ground, but it will continue to do so. We've got winter weather advisories, our northwestern counties in Kansas until 6, where you could see 1 to 2 inches of snow up there. And then down in Oklahoma and Arkansas, these ones run through noon, where again the primary concern is not with accumulating wintry weather, more so again slick spots and some hazardous travel in some locations. We're sitting at 27 in Joplin right now, 27 also in Pittsburgh, and around the area these temperatures haven't moved much, nor are they expected to. Mid to upper 20s for most of us, again with a string of 30s back through northeastern Oklahoma. Now FutureTrack believes that some of those locations where we've been sitting about 30, 31 this morning might warm up just a hair past freezing by this afternoon, long enough to get a brief shower, as in rain, but it will be brief. This will transition back into this freezing rain, snow, and sleet mix out there. As we head into the afternoon and evening, temperatures will start to drop a little bit more. We'll see more of a transition to snow, and this will begin exiting the area by 8. And some of that snow band could produce maybe some brief heavy snow, leading to some slightly reduced visibilities, but again, accumulation-wise, we don't have any significant concerns there. Temperatures, as I mentioned, don't move much. We're going to be upper 20s, low 30s today. Winds will be calm, and we'll have that wintry mix again, eventually transitioning to some light snow this evening before this begins to exit. We'll have another look at the weather and, of course, that wintry weather, plus some road conditions and what happens after the snowfall is done here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. A Gallup survey found only 36% of Americans approve of the job the president is doing. 60% of people oppose his handling of the job. This is the lowest approval rating of the president's second term in office. The survey was conducted between November 3rd and November 25th. This was around the time of the off-year election and the federal government shutdown. The poll shows Republicans and independents' ratings of the president have dropped since last month. Republicans' approval of the president has fallen 7 points to 84%, while only 25% of independents approve of the president. Well, coming up next, Cyber Monday brings record spending, according to Adobe Analytics. In Consumer Watch, millions of SNAP food benefit recipients may soon have to meet new work rules to keep their benefits. Millions of SNAP food The Republican-backed Big Beautiful Bill now requires at least 80 hours of activity each month for a much wider group of people. A Congressional Budget Office report says that will mean 2.4 million fewer people getting benefits on average each month. States are reporting confusion, rushed timelines, and technology systems not ready to implement the change. As a result, some residents could lose food aid as soon as January. State officials warn the full impact will unfold as recipients hit their next recertification deadlines. from a year ago. According to Adobe Analytics, Cyber Monday bargains are expected to bring record spending today. Cybersecurity experts are, however, warning shoppers to beware of online scams, from bogus bargains that look too good to be true to misspelled URLs, scam sites, and sites asking for alternative payment forms. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's have a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 744. Now, I know that banner says downtown Pittsburgh, but this all comes from one particular program. This is the live look right now outside the station here on 69. Of course, we're near Lawton in Cherokee County, and you can see the snow is picked up. You can also see it is sticking to the highway and, of course, to our parking lot out there. So this is what we've talked about. While heavy accumulations or significant accumulations aren't expected with any of this, it could stick to the roads, which it is currently doing, and could lead to slick spots all on its own. Now we're going to transition back over to downtown Pittsburgh, where the snow just right after we got done with that last weather update started to pick up in the Pittsburgh area as well. The roads are still clear, but it shouldn't take long before some of it does start to stick. Like I said, major accumulations aren't a concern. It's more so with what does stick could lead to some slick spots. Now on the Joplin side, what a difference things make. Not saying much of anything. Looks pretty good so far. 7th and range line. And then KDOT camera 69 and 400. Again, looking along 171 toward Missouri. You can see some of that snow just along the grass here. You can see where it's falling. And we'll head down to the Baxter Springs camera at 69. It keeps freezing up every time I go to it. I'm not sure why. But again, that makes it more difficult to see. But if you look, snowflakes, and quite a few of them. That's what all of these little spots are here. I will head over to the MoDOT cameras around the metro area. Again, at this point, looking good. MoDOT's adjusted the camera I-44 Main Street, looking back a little more to the south and west. But so far, nothing major, and we've got, looks like maybe the plow crews. Yep, the plow crews heading out from MoDOT there. So here's Skywatch Storm Tracker. Again, we're starting to see that drier air move out, and that's allowing this snow to start reaching the ground, and it will continue to do so. We'll have this wintry mix with us throughout most of the day. But like I said, major accumulations aren't the concern. The concern is going to be with slick spots where the snow does stick to roadways, especially bridges and overpasses. We do have winter weather advisories once again in parts of southeast Kansas until 6. We're up here, you could actually get 1 to 2 inches of snow. Meanwhile, winter weather advisories into Oklahoma and Arkansas until noon. And again, that's primarily for the potential for some hazardous travel here and there. And I was just checking News 9 in Oklahoma City. They've got some serious icing going on. And so road conditions as you get closer to Oklahoma City deteriorate very quickly. Road conditions starting to deteriorate across northern parts of Kansas into our region at this time, still being reported as clear. But you did just see our camera here at KOAM, which would be right about here-ish. And you saw where some of that snow is just starting to stick to the roadways. On the Missouri side, again, up around Kansas City, St. Joseph, road conditions deteriorating for us, still reported as clear, but as time goes on, that will begin to change. So, and you saw that literally update as I went to this. So we're looking at that wintry mix. We were looking at maybe a light rain shower, but it looks like that's been pulled out of the equation. So we'll have freezing rain, sleet, snow. And this will last through, again, the majority of the day as this system begins to push on through. We could get some brief heavier snow with this snow band as it exits. Again, it shouldn't add up to much in terms of accumulation, but could lead to slightly reduced visibilities, especially around the evening commute along and north of I-44, and of course could lead to some additional slick spots, but it still exits pretty quickly with the trailing edge back into Berry and Lawrence County on its way out by 8 o'clock, leaving us with partly cloudy skies overnight and will be mostly clear to partly cloudy as we head through our Tuesday. Quick look at those snow totals. This is updated this morning, and it will update again, but this is where, again, up north could get a little bit more snow. You can see Yates Center potentially up to 2 inches. That's why those winter weather advisories are out up there. As for everyone else, it's a dusting to a half inch, maybe an inch at most. So again, that's why we're not overly concerned about significant accumulations, just more so about slick spots. So wintry mix through the morning. Temperatures don't do a lot of moving, hovering into the upper 20s. We're looking at highs upper 20s, low 30s today. We'll go upper teens, low 20s tonight, upper 30s, low 40s tomorrow. A little warmer Wednesday, a little cooler Thursday. Then looking pretty good heading into this upcoming weekend. Temperatures a bit more mild. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Northwestern University is the latest major U.S. college to settle claims over campus anti-Semitism and more. It'll pay $75 million over 3 years to end a Trump administration investigation.
This deal follows similar settlements by the Ivy Leagues Cornell, Brown, and Columbia. Fox News correspondent C.B. Cotton has more from New York.
Northwestern's months-long standoff with the federal government has come to an end. The elite private research university has agreed to pay $75 million to get nearly $800 million in federal research funding restored. Those were dollars initially pulled over the government's allegations of race-based admissions, unlawful discrimination, and a hostile educational environment for Jewish students. In addition to the payment, Northwestern will also have to maintain clear policies on campus protest and implement mandatory anti-Semitism training for students, faculty, and staff. These are just some of the reforms the Trump administration has been pushing for in its ongoing campus crackdown amid ongoing anti-Israel protests across the country. Northwestern President Henry Beenan said the $75 million payment was not an admission of guilt, but simply, quote, a condition of the agreement. And in a pre-recorded message to the campus, he suggested a legal battle would have dragged on for far too long with too much at stake. He also emphasized there were red lines Northwestern refused to cross.
I would not have signed anything that would have given the federal government any say in who we hire, what they teach, who we admit, or what they study. Put simply, Northwestern runs Northwestern.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon celebrating the deal, writing in part, quote, the deal cements policy changes that will protect students and other members of the campus from harassment and discrimination, and it recommits the school to merit-based hiring and admissions. Northwestern says it'll pay the required $75 million over the next 3 years without touching donor funds. It is now the second largest fine ever paid by a university to the Trump administration, behind Columbia University's $221 million settlement back in July. In New York, C.B. Cotton, Fox News.
All right, a lot to keep an eye on there, and we've got that snow pushing through the area, and we've got winter weather advisories as well. Some of the snow's been a bit heavy at times, major accumulations not expected, but could have some slick spots out there. Now look at your forecast and your Wake Up Recap right after this.
This is your Wake Up Recap for December 1st, your top stories to start your day. Video sent to KOAM from Commerce resident Kylie Water shows the flames as they burst out of the side of the house this Saturday on Vine Street. Water saying as she opened her front door, she could feel the heat from the fire. The home was reported as vacant, and public works crews have torn down the house in the interest of public safety. No injuries from this incident have been reported. Despite the weather this weekend, community members gathered in Pittsburgh for the annual tree lighting ceremony. The free event, hosted by the city in downtown Pittsburgh, took place at the Pritchett Pavilion. The holiday program featured the tree lighting, photos with Santa, Mickey, and Minnie Mouse, and others. The 20-foot tree will remain up throughout the holiday season for the whole community to enjoy. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got that snow pushing through the area. You can see on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Again, not all of it reaching the ground just yet, but we'll have more of this wintry weather as we head through the morning hours and through today, really. We do also have winter weather advisories in place. Our northwestern counties until 6, where you could get up to 2 inches of snow in some locations. Down south, Oklahoma and Arkansas, they'll run through noon. And that is, again, primarily for slick spots, which is, again, our main concern with any of the snow. As you can see in the southeastern Kansas, at least so far in our area, for the most part, roads still being listed as clear, and that is also the case from MoDOT on the Missouri side of things. That green is their clear indicator as well. But we've seen some bouts of heavier snow showers out there, and that will continue again with this wintry mix of freezing rain, sleet, and snow. We'll go into the upper 20s, low 30s today, upper teens, low 20s tonight, upper 30s and low 40s for our Tuesday. A little warmer Wednesday, a little cooler Thursday, and a mild weekend ahead of us. Maybe if you didn't get the Christmas lights on this past weekend, you can do it this weekend, perhaps.
I know, but I was excited to see a little bit of snow start coming down. I ran outside when you were doing a full weather hit earlier, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's snowing.
It's been impressive. Like I said, nothing major accumulation-wise, but do watch out for slick spots out there. And we will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.